Do you fish at all?
No, but I want to.
Really?
Like, I caught a nice trout yesterday.
You fish? How long you been fishing?
Forever.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've only went fishing like twice. I was fine. I was like the bait girl. Like everybody didn't want to touch the worms, so I was like, I'll do that.
Interesting.
No, I've always wanted to fish, but I never gotten a chance to.
Do you have a rod?
No.
He just said he never.
Well, yeah, I know, but maybe
Well, I mean,
he's like...
sometimes I can have a rod and just I never
But why?
Yeah.
fishing. I don't
But
know.
why
Maybe
would
my
you?
dad used to fish and he gave
Yeah,
me one. I just
exactly.
never used it before.
Okay,
You
sorry,
never know.
guys.
Not that stupid of
All
him.
right,
Exactly.
whatever.
Should I clip
All
this
right.
on me?
Yeah, honestly, I'm
I
gonna
don't
start
know.
clipping it because like I start moving with the mic and then sometimes you
No,
can't
do
hear
you
my
think?
voice. Yeah.
But sometimes
Well,
I
no,
feel
that's
like
that's for me though. I don't know about you guys.
That's pretty cool.
okay.
Welcome to the show, Aaron.
Thanks.
I feel like we've been trying to get him on like
For so long.
and
You
he's
were
just been
probably, like-
dodging it.
You were probably like the second person, I think. Like after we were like, because I think it was Reg. It was supposed to be me, you, and Reg the first one. And I think by the second one, you were like, oh yeah, I'll come on, and you never did.
No, I definitely I wanted to, but I don't know. It always just got away from me.
I feel like there's always something getting in the way. Every time we'd be like, oh yeah, Aaron's next. And
Yeah.
then something happens, he's not here. I was like, all right, whatever.
Well, so yeah, I typically don't. I'm not really the best with my schedule. I'm more of just like a
Do you
fly
not
by this.
have like a planner or like a calendar?
Not
I mean,
really.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't use a calendar.
I
either.
love my Google Calendar.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have a Google Calendar and stuff, but I typically like. I don't know. I'm more of just like this would be fun right now, and then I go
free
do it.
flowing, yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah, because I honestly I don't. I've had planners, but I never use them. Like I just
Yeah,
everything's up here. I remember.
exactly.
I feel like there's no need to
That's crazy.
write
No.
it down.
No, I feel like I was actually just talking to my roommate the other day about it because I feel like I don't know. I feel like everybody always asks me stuff about like so far ahead in time.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
it's like I have to
Yeah,
be
I-
like, oh, in May, actually, I can't do that, or in June, I'm gonna be gone this time. Like, I
Right.
have to,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't like that. Like planning so far.
I'm not like
ahead.
that
Yeah,
at all.
everybody
Also,
always wants to be like, well, what are you doing 2 months from now? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's so
more
annoying.
I'm more the type where it's like I don't know, I could have like a prior obligation, but I'll see like people I know doing stuff fun out in the field. I'm like, I'm definitely going doing that instead. Like
Okay, well,
No, yeah, I feel like now it's like, oh yeah, I want to hang out. Okay, let me check my schedule. When are
Yeah.
you, like, I don't
Yeah,
like that.
I
Why
had
can't we
to-
just go now? Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
literally
mostly-
had to put in my
Exactly.
schedule that I'm going to the movies tomorrow night, or
No,
not
you
tomorrow
see,
night, with
that's
Wednesday
crazy
night.
to me.
I had to
why
put it in
should
my
I?
schedule.
Why should I have to put that on the Google Calendar and be like, yeah, I think I'm free Thursday
It's
at
not.
7:00. Yes, we can go to the movies at
Yeah,
that time.
that's exactly
No,
what we
no.
did. I said I get out of class at 6:15. I'll be ready 7:30 for a movie. I'm fine. We can do that.
No, see me, I'm just be like, I'm going to the movies now.
I'm not that way at all.
I
Yeah.
can do that. My parents want me to do that so bad. They will be like, if I'm like, oh, you know, like I miss you guys. They're like, oh, come home. I'm like, dude, I have hours. I have work in the weekend. I have this. I can't just get up and go home.
I would just go home.
Yeah, me
I,
too.
like, I can't do
I'm just-
that. I have work. I have to clock in. Like,
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't have many responsibilities though, so I guess that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, I try and put what's most important in front of me first and anything, so whatever. But anyways, I've been doing some thinking, and obviously we're like in the mental health field,
Mhm.
sort of, I
Obviously,
guess,
yes.
because, I mean, not professionally, but you know what I mean.
Getting there.
Yeah,
We're
get
getting
in there.
we're further than most students of our time.
Yeah,
That is
that is true. That is true. Yeah, so I've just been thinking, like, obviously, you know, I do want to be a counselor one day, and, you know, I'm kind of passionate about the mental health field and things of that nature. But I was just, like, kind of thinking, like, do you think, like, counseling and therapy is necessary for everybody? Because, I don't know, I'm the type of person, like, yes, I'm preaching mental health and it's important,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes I'm like, you know, it's so, like, just because I'm in this like counselor type of role, that doesn't mean, yes, we all need counseling or you need to see a
Yeah.
therapist. Like, because I feel like there are other ways to go about, you know, treating your mental health. I don't know.
Sorry.
You got that?
Sorry, he distracted me. Okay. I do think that everybody should try counseling at least once. Because I take like counseling classes right now, and a part of that class is you have to. Well, you don't have to, but you can like go through counseling and do 5 sessions of counseling, because the whole shtick is like, as a counselor, you should know what it's like to be on the other side of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, even just as a regular person, like, even if it's just a one-off session, maybe like a once-a-week session, you don't even have to continue it with, you know? Because I feel like sometimes people think counseling is such a, like, an all or nothing. Like, you have to be in this, you know, you have to kind of have this comfortability with your counselor to trauma dump with them and really, like, cry in front of them and stuff. Like, I'm like, no thanks. But like, if I'm like, oh, this was a rough week, or oh my god, my friend told me this story and I think it was crazy and it's just on my mind, yeah, I'll just tell it to them, because at the end of the day, it's a person for you to talk to. It doesn't have to be necessarily, because I think a good counselor will be able to find stuff out about you no matter what you're talking about. Right? No matter if you're trauma dumping or if you're like, oh, in my room there's this, this, and this, you know, like, no matter what conversation you're having, like, your counselor is able to know who you are as a person from that.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree. And to piggyback off what you were saying a little bit, I think, you know, more like the all or nothing type of situation, where I think counseling, it really is what you want out of it. If it's something that you want to just to go talk about something, you know, just to go work out a situation in your head. Like I met with somebody recently who was that same sort of situation where it was like, hey, I just need to talk something out. You talk it out, you get a helpful perspective, hopefully, and then it's like, okay, thanks, and that's it. Yeah. Or if you really need to talk about something more in depth, more serious, then, you know, there's that option too. But I definitely do think that counseling is something that more people should utilize in their lives, simply for the fact that you may not know that you have to talk about things, and you may not know that you have a lot going on, but find yourself, you know, being in a comfortable situation with somebody who makes you feel not judged, because that's the biggest thing. You know, counselors, they don't judge you. Right. And they're always on your side. And that is the most important thing in the world. And once you really feel that, and like, I've had this own experience in my life where once I really felt that comfortability with my counselor, it was like, man, I could really talk about anything. And it was like, it just made me feel heard in a way that I've never really felt before. And for that experience alone, I think that counseling is something that people should try, like, at least once, because there's really nothing like it, honestly.
So you have been at a counselor, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So like, before you went into counseling, were you somebody that also like avoided counseling and didn't really see it as like it would help, or like what made you finally like?
Honestly, I would say that I was that sort of person. I mean, I was always very passionate about talking things out, but it was more like like come and talk to me about it rather than I'm going to talk to you about it. I always had a good relationship with my parents, and like specifically my mom, where I would talk to her about a lot of things, but I only started going to therapy pretty recently, actually. I was going through some rough times, and I was like I really do, I do have to do this, because I need someone who can actually like guide me through what I'm going through, rather than someone who will just be forced to listen because they're my friends. You know, it's like someone who genuinely can help, you know. And after doing that, it was very clear that was what I needed, and it was very clear that like, this is a step up from anything I've ever experienced before in terms of somebody listening and stuff like that. But it was very, very beneficial. And yeah, I would highly recommend it. But to answer your question, like, yeah, I was very, I was very like, nah, I don't need to speak to anyone. Like, I'm just going to deal with my shit on my own. But it just did not get me very far, and it doesn't get a lot of people very far either.
Yeah, so was it like scary at first trying to go into a counselor? Yeah, no doubt. I mean, counseling is like, therapy in general just has that stigma about it, you know, that we try hard to break down, but it's like, it is that all or nothing feeling where it's like, you go there and you have to give some sort of juicy details about your life, and it's like, you don't always have to do that. You know, it could always just be getting outside your comfort zone a little bit, talking about, you know, some things that were on your mind, you know. Getting to know somebody else. Like, it's like, there's a lot of different aspects that go to it, and all of that fear that you feel before counseling most times goes away after you try it. Oh yeah. Because there are a lot of times where you're like,
oh, I don't know if I want to do this, it's uncomfortable, and then you do it and it's like, man, this was so great for me, like I really needed this.
Yeah.
And then so, actually an experience that I've had where it's like when I've had to talk about more serious things, it was like, man, I don't really want to go to therapy right now, like because I know that I have to talk about this, but when I'm talking about it, I'm like, God, I'm so relieved that I actually just did it, because it is a hard thing to put yourself into, because you kind of know what you're going to end up saying when you're in a safe environment to say it, but it's just so relieving when you do.
Sometimes you can like feel the lightness of you.
Yeah.
Like I know, like after I've had a good like therapy session with my counselor, like I'll go home that day and I'll be like, huh,
Yeah.
like that was great.
Definitely. I definitely relate to that a lot.
Yeah, like you physically feel lighter.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think that's so true.
Yeah, you guys make counseling sound like a wonderful thing. See, I'm one that I never use counseling. I never really tried to. I don't know. I don't know. I've always I figured it out on my own. I'm able to I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a problem.
So that's why, that's why I don't, sorry to cut you off,
No,
but
you're good.
like that's why I'm not one that's gonna preach yes, we all need counseling, because I'm not me myself. I don't use it, so I feel like I shouldn't be telling everybody else to use it. Like I'm here for it, yes, but that I'm not gonna enforce it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then I know something you said probably a couple of weeks ago where you were trying to comparing it when you hurt something, right? Like when you hurt your elbow or your ankle, you go to the doctors, right? So if there's something going on up there, you go see a counselor. But then I was like, wait a minute, you're changing my mind about it now.
It's health either way. Mental health. It's all health. You got to go to a health professional.
That is true.
No, yeah.
I've never thought about it that way.
Everybody always I make this argument all the time because, and I love her. She's watching Drew. I love you. But my roommate, who's a nursing major, she's a very heavy STEM nursing major. I've had arguments where people are like, psych is not a science. It is a social science. You're learning even if you're not pursuing it in a cognitive sense or in a biopsych sense or whatever, neuroscience, if you're not actively studying the brain, we all have to take a class where we study the brain. And there are certain aspects of it, it is, I could go on for forever, but it is a social science. It is health. It is a health profession, and they are you go to school for it. You get you can get a PhD. I can. Oh my God!
Honestly, by the way you're speaking, I feel like you've got into a bunch of heated.
I have. Right? Oh my gosh! Literally, since I've gotten to school, since I've made my commitment of I'm going to be a psych major, it's all I've had to do.
Obviously, you guys have great experiences with counseling.
It's not always been good, I will say.
Okay, I'll take that into consideration.
Because I've had to move around a good couple of counselors, so every experience is different. Yeah.
That is true. I mean, I've gotten lucky enough that I'm on BetterHelp because I was always moving around and being in different areas, so it was very difficult for me to have in-person meetings with my counselor. And it was definitely a jump because I always preferred in-person meetings, but being on BetterHelp has been very, very beneficial for me. And I matched with the therapist, and he's been great, and I've been working with him ever since. So, yeah. But as you're saying.
No, I think that's what it might have been too, because obviously I wasn't here on my whole 4 years, and I've been constantly moving around schools. After high school, I went to Massachusetts, then I went to Ohio, then I went to here. So I was never in I was never gonna see a counselor in one spot and stay there. So maybe that's what it was too. Now that you said that, but I don't know, because obviously speaking of counseling, obviously there's a lot of also stigmas when it comes to seeing a counselor, mental health, when it comes to men and women. So I know for guys, right, we typically we're not ones to say, mental health is fake, we're not thinking about feelings, and we don't go to see counselors. People who go see therapists are crazy. But do you think men should utilize counseling more? Because I feel like we should. I don't know. I think we should, but I'm saying that even though I don't use it, but
I do for sure. You guys are crazy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, men and women, they both have to they both have to go into counseling. But I think hi. Fran, she's funny. Okay.
She came into the office this morning and she was like, "You want to see a deer?" And then like pulled me outside and there was no deer.
Wait, so why did she say
I
that?
don't know,
Because that's Fran. Because
apparently,
that's Fran for you.
yeah, apparently there was a deer earlier, but disappeared. Allegedly a deer.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
A deer?
Yeah, maybe she's
Like,
seeing
right
things.
outside.
No, apparently it's over there. She might be seeing things again.
Yeah, I think so.
On campus, I run a group, and it's for breaking down stigmas about men's mental health and, you know, just men in general, and breaking down like the kind of behaviors in men that have grown to be considered toxic and that stuff, like around masculinity and stuff like that. I run a group where it's, you know, getting people together and talking about those sorts of things. So I absolutely believe that men and women alike should be, you know, doing counseling and taking advantage of it. But specifically men, I think it is absolutely crucial because it's, I don't know, it's, men have an interesting dynamic in society where they have certain views and certain roles that are put upon them, which are, women have those too, of course. But men are a little different because it's almost encouraged for men not to voice their pain and their suffering
For sure.
and their experience. You know, it's almost like no, there's too much going on. They don't have enough time to do that. They already have so many responsibilities. They already have so many people that they have to take care of. Like, that's not for them, you know. And I'm a huge advocate for, like, no, talk about your experience, talk about what's going on, and in doing that, you'll be able to care for the people around you better. You know, the better you take care of yourself, the better you get help for what you actually are going through, and the better, you know, we break down those ideas that men are supposed to be just big and strong all the time, and they're supposed to hold everything together, and it's, you know, that's not always the case, right? It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to talk about things, and it's okay to, you know, like, utilize the people around you and the resources around you to really feel better as a human, because ultimately as people, all we're really trying to do is enhance our experience as humans and just enjoy our time here while we can.
I always say that.
Right?
My favorite, like, one of my favorite lines is to be like, at the end of the day, I am a human before I am a woman, before I am
Exactly,
a student,
yeah.
before I'm a friend, a sister, whatever. Like, I am a human being.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Yes. I believe in that 100%. And you know, I like men in my life, you know, I've seen them struggle and stuff like that, and I've seen, you know, the strong men in my life who held everything together struggle on their own. And that's always been something that, like, was very hard for me to see. But, you know, part of breaking down barriers is, like, breaking those sorts of cycles where those things continue for generations on, you know. And yes, I believe that all men, I mean, you know, there's men like Jonathan who may not, and like I'm not throwing shade at all. Like, there a lot of times.
No, it's alright.
No.
I don't mind.
There are people who naturally may not need it. You know, there are people who may always have had a unique perspective in their lives since, you know, they were little or whatever, where they were able to process the things in their lives. They were able to take forward steps without feeling the need to talk everything out and feeling the need to, like, get those feelings out. They were able to
feel
process
like it's
them.
the knowledge that's
Yeah,
in there.
definitely.
That's the difference. Because
Yeah.
I feel like, if there are guys that are kind of like Jonathan, for example, like, you're the only guy that I can, like, you're right here. But I feel like, I don't know, like, most of them, like, especially as being in the psych major, as a counseling physician, you know, like, it's easier to be more self-aware, I guess.
Definitely.
And so, like, even to know, like, okay, well, I understand that I'm going through this, and I understand that if I need to, I can cry. It doesn't necessarily mean I will right now.
Yeah.
But just kind of that knowledge of, like, I can if I have to, and there's no problem with that.
Yeah, like, already being equipped with the knowledge and resources so that if you were going through a hard time, you kind of already know the procedure a little bit of, like, what it would be to talk to someone, so you can kind of take the steps for yourself.
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
Which makes sense. But yes, 2 thumbs up for counseling.
No, yeah, I kind of see where you guys come from in that like in terms of that, the way you guys thought about it, because like yes, I do because I'm in the psych field. I think that's why it kind of works, I guess, in
Yeah.
a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like for somebody who's not in the psych field, that's why like I don't want, just because it works for me, like I definitely don't want you to do what I do, because
Yeah,
it's
right.
totally
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
and you can only handle so much as a person.
Mhm.
So I think that's why in a way it does kind of work for me, just because I'm in this psych field and I'm surrounded by all this, you know how to self-care and how to go about this
Yeah.
and this and that. So I think that's why it worked in a way, but also I've never really, I don't know.
And because it's kind of like being a teacher for it too, because we have like
Yeah.
events and tabling and stuff where we kind of
Yeah.
have to talk to people, and even in our sessions, like when we're giving resources and stuff like that, like you kind of have, you have to have that knowledge. So, yeah, I feel like that's kind of, you ever have those classes where they make you like teach something to somebody else, and you're like, that's like the one time that I've really like
a
understood.
seminar.
Like, okay, say you guys have groups, right? And your group has a specific study that they have to research, and then you talk about that study and you teach it to everybody else in the class.
Yeah, that's a seminar.
Right.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah, so like, yeah, but I feel like when I've done things like that, that's kind of those are the times when I really understood the material, because I was like, I have to relay this to somebody else. Like I have
Yeah.
to make sure that this information is good for them.
Hmm.
So I feel like having that really helps me remembering stuff like that. All the resources and stuff on campus, I'll use them myself, because I'm like, now I know about them, because I have
That's
to,
true.
because I have to talk to people about them, and I have to know what I'm talking about for them.
No, that's true. Honestly, you don't even realize what
Mm-hmm.
resources you have on campus until you actually start like learning
Yeah.
about them. Because I didn't realize about some
I didn't
of
know
the
we had a
things
nutritionist on campus.
I had no
I-
idea.
yeah, I
about
didn't
that
know either.
Me either.
I did
If you-
not know
If you were
either.
to ask me about that, oof. Water break.
Thirsty. You guys got me talking.
Okay, that's what we do here.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Talk.
We just talk.
Yo, why do you think I've been avoiding it for so long?
Oh, please, you can talk. You can talk.
Okay. Not too
All we,
much.
all we need to do is ask a question and
Not too
Yeah,
much.
She takes it
you-
from
you
there.
got it from there.
Not
Like,
too
it's
much now.
fine.
Like right
Oh,
by the
gosh.
chairs over there. Do you know where that little like docking station is?
Yeah.
Can you just see
Hi,
if it's
Shelby.
charged? Can you just like open it? and
Hey,
check?
this is Shelby. This is our
guys,
mentor.
this is Shelby.
Oh, dear.
Perfect question. How do you guys feel about social media and online presence for when it comes to mental health? Do you think it has?
Ooh.
Do you think it has an effect on your mental health being chronically online?
Oh yes. Oh God,
And why?
yes. I have to. I go through a lot of phases of deleting my social media. So
I relate to that.
yeah, I think the only social media I have is TikTok and Instagram, but I don't really use my Instagram like that anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to live your life when you're just on your phone like that all the time.
That is true.
And I feel like people get a little too comfortable online, and they start thinking that they can talk to you like you're best friends with them, and I'm like, no,
Mhm.
thank you. Yeah, no. I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm become a lot more of like a private person.
Yeah.
So like I privated my Instagram. I just like, I don't know. I'd much rather take the picture and just have it be in my photos app, and then I'll just go through my photos. Like that's enough for
I
me.
totally agree with that. Yeah.
I think I don't want to say it's completely bad. I think there should be a balance when it comes to social media, because like
Oh,
there
for
are
sure.
some like positive things to it too. Like obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, social media is bad" when I have a podcast right here. So I'm not going to say that.
Oh, it's a little
But
different too.
It's different.
But
though.
I think it depends how people use it, because I know the way it can affect you is like, if you have the social media, let's say Instagram, TikTok, you can fall into that trap of comparing yourself to others, or being like, oh, I got to be like that. Because like I know I used to do it as an athlete, like because like obviously growing up playing basketball, you see all the other high school players or the recruits and the rankings, and you're always getting caught up in that and what teams they're playing for, or how am I going to get there. So that kind of impacted me growing up
I relate
when
to
it
that.
comes to sports, because it's like you want to be ranked too, and you want all that, when really who cares about that? Like, don't compare yourself to others.
Mhm.
Just focus on getting better and focus on your present being, right? Like
Right, yeah.
what can you do to be the best you can be? Like, it's not about being better than him or being better than that person. It's
Yeah.
about being the best version of yourself. So I think we can fall like trapped into comparing when it comes to social media, but then there's also the positive side to it. Like, for example, this podcast, right? Like, if you're using social media to, I guess, kind of put your voice out there to maybe help other people or put a positive impact on others or inspire others, there's also that where you see, you know, with the content creators, the podcasts and all this stuff. So I think it just depends what you use it for, but I also think we have to be careful how we use social media right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's bad, let's get rid of it. Because no, the social media technology is going to grow from here on out. So I think we just have to utilize it more, and that'll help us instead of, you know, impact us negatively. So I just think we need to have a balance when it comes to social media. Yeah, like I'm not one that's gonna be on social media and start posting every little thing. That's me though. I'm not gonna post anything about my life. So I don't know, but obviously there are other things, you know, like the podcast is something I just started. So now I don't know, who knows what's gonna happen after this, right? Maybe I do start posting more because I realize, you know, maybe I can help other people. But
He gets into his influencer.
yeah, my influencer era,
Yeah.
but whatever. Do you think we as college students should utilize counseling?
For sure. I think especially because like paying to go here, you're paying for the service. So it is available to you for like whatever, like it's not any extra cost, you know? And I feel like especially, I don't know, especially with a program like this where it's just kind of, you know, you don't have to have a set counselor, but you can just come in and talk to people. I know the other day I was having a pretty rough day and I was like, I wish I could come in and see a peer counselor. Like, I was like, I really wish I could, like,
I mean, you
just
can.
talk to... We're not having this conversation again.
You can come in, and we're always here, you know.
No. You know, one time I told Jonathan that I'd come in and talk to...
Don't lie.
I came in and I told Jonathan, I said, hey, if you know, because he was upset he hadn't met with anybody. So I said, hey, I go through some troubles, you know, if I ever am feeling, you know, out of it on a Monday morning or something, or a Friday afternoon, I'll come in and I'll see a peer counselor. You know, he says to me, he goes, I don't want the pity. I don't want you to come in. Oh my God. And see how he's silent because I'm right.
Put me on blast like this?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yes, I am.
you've met with someone since then, right?
Yeah, I have that.
Right.
Well,
So
it's
you don't
resolved.
have to worry about it then. Anyways.
Well, you don't have to see me. You can see somebody else. You know?
Yeah, so anyways, the other day I really wanted to see a peer counselor. And I feel like that just kind of goes into it a lot where it's like, if you just come in and just talk to somebody, you know, like you don't have to have a counselor if you don't need to. I feel like, especially on this campus, you know, I can't talk for any other campus, but
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I think that being a college student, I don't know, it's like you might have like a pretty solid routine when you're home, you might work a full-time job over the summer, you might be in bed at 9, 10 o'clock, but like when you're here, I feel like everyone's lives are pretty drastically different, or in terms of like a whole different routine. You know, you're on a campus with a bunch of people, you're in college, you're not really like, your full-time job is kind of being a student.
you're not in bed by 10.
Yeah, certainly not in bed by 10. And it's like, you know, with all of that stuff going on, it may be like, it's probably so far out of everyone's mind to like go and see a counselor. I know at the beginning it was for me, because it was like, there's a million different things going on at any given moment. There's class.
You're too busy to do it.
And like I have class, like I want to hang out with my friends, I want to go do fun stuff. It's like I really didn't leave any room for my mental health or like what was going on. And when I did have struggles, when I was burning out, my last thought was like, oh, I have to go drag myself to the health center and go schedule an appointment with a therapist and go explain everything and like all that stuff, you know. So for those situations, it does make sense why people wouldn't, but I don't know, if you go through the little bit of extra effort, it goes such a long way to like avoid burning out and to avoid really finding yourself in that like deep dark pit that you can find yourself in college, because a lot of people find their friends, a lot of people don't, and it's like a lot of people have a great time, a lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't need someone to talk to, but a lot of people do, and they don't realize that and they don't realize how close it can be to have that resource. So I think that more people need to be aware of it, and I also think that more people need to take advantage of it, especially on college campuses with the way that everyone's lives are bouncing around.
And I think like going on that of like the whole you're too busy stuff, like I think that really goes into big on like communication, because I feel like communicating with your counselor, your therapist, whoever you're seeing, of like I know it's scary, but once you're in it, to be like, hey, I don't really know if I want to necessarily meet you like once a week. Can we do every 2 weeks or something, or like once a month maybe? I don't really need it consistently like that. Or you can be like, hey, I'm actually going through a really tough time right now, can we switch it up to 2 times a week? Like you can change your schedule, you can change what you talk about. Like people don't, it's always easy to forget that you are controlling the session.
Right.
Like the counselor is going through what you want to go through. If you don't want to talk about your problems and you just say, I just want to have like a conversation to get it off of my mind, they'll do that. If you're saying, hey, I just need to sit in silence for a little bit, like I need to just think for a second, they'll sit in silence with you. Like you are guiding the session. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it goes to show how important self-care is when it comes to especially college students, or just in general, because I think we as a society don't really take care of ourselves mentally, and that impacts everything. I mean, I even have a class when it comes to like we talk about wrongful convictions, and when it comes to investigators or police officers, the way they handle situations, but sometimes it's just because of the stress of the job and they're not taking care of their mental health and things they go through. So I just think it goes to show how important like self-care is individually, because that really determines how happy you may be as a person, or how much you're struggling, whether you're struggling or not. So I think in general, I think we as people have to like take self-care more seriously. And I know we've talked about it a lot, that can look different in everybody, but I think just making sure that you're okay first before anything, because that really is going to determine how, well, I guess speaking in terms of for college, so that's going to determine how your college years go about, is, if you're able to take care of yourself.
How you're showing up for your classes, how you're showing up for the people around you, how you're taking care of your space, stuff like that. Like, if you're not in the mental health and you're not in the mental space to do it, you won't, and it'll really like.
And I think the first step of that is just to know the resources you have on campus. Like, for example, a college student here, there is, the counseling center. Now there's peer counselors, right? But they also have ward. They also have ARO. Is ARO? That's the thing, right?
It is.
Myself.
Yeah.
It is a thing. I don't know if they do like. I mean, they do like.
I know they also have TRIO and AOP. There's multiple programs on campus that can help students, or because every student needs something different. So, a peer counselor may not work for everybody, but they should be aware that there's multiple, there's lots of access in terms of how we can better ourselves or improve ourselves mentally. So I think as students, just being aware that you're not alone, and like people are here to help you. You just need to ask for it, right? Because you can't feed somebody who doesn't want to be fed, right? Right. You need to open your mouth in order to get fed. So that's little, I guess.
Put on a postcard, right?
Put on a postcard, but I think self-care is something that needs to be talked about more and more, and I think that will also help break all the stigmas when it comes to, we were talking about earlier, when it comes to men and mental health, and or just women in general, just breaking all those stigmas and saying it's okay, like it's a real thing, and
you gotta start it young too.
Yeah, start it young, honestly, because again,
you can't be like 30,
right?
In your day-to-day job, being like, oh, I wish I had like changed my mindset when I was in college or when I was younger, or whatever. Like younger minds are so much more easier to adapt.
Get them into those like I I guess
Those
I'm looking for the
ideals
word.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
ideals, beliefs. Yeah.
Also, for the 30-year-olds watching, it's better to start somewhere than to start.
Oh yeah, that's
than
like
to start nowhere.
just yeah. It
You
doesn't
can
matter
start
what
taking
age,
care of
yeah.
yourselves.
No, yeah, that is true.
No, for
There's
sure.
no age.
Yes, I apologize.
Well, no, I get what you're saying because
Yeah,
unfortunately it sucks that those who are older, you know, they have to start now. But it doesn't matter. Life
Yeah.
is very long, right? You're gonna live a long life. Everybody's gonna live a long life. Like just because, you know, I thought that I was old coming into college already. I mean, I feel like I'm old, but then when you really think about it, like I'm not that old. Like
I
we're
say
all
to
so
everybody,
young.
you're a baby to anyone.
Exactly.
You're a baby to somebody out there. Earlier, the other day I was at work and there was like a 50-year-old guy in my line, and this 80-year-old woman came up to her and she goes, "You're so young. Like you're such a baby," because that's a 30-year difference between them. Like a 50-year-old
that's true.
can be young to somebody.
No, that's true. I know as soon as I like graduate, leave campus, I'm gonna be the youngest person outside in the real world. So
Yeah.
I don't really think about age anymore.
Yeah.
Because I know I have plenty of time. You know, I guess when I was younger, I felt like I was rushed or like I had to get things done because time was running out, especially when it comes to athletics. But now it's like, no, like you should never think like that. So I'm just, honestly, it doesn't matter where you start as long as you start somewhere. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on this episode finally.
Finally.
Obviously.
Took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was a great conversation.
It was
I
a
think
fun day.
Yeah, it was definitely
It was a fun day,
no,
that's
but
for sure.
I do appreciate
yeah.
your time.
I certainly had a good time. Thank you guys for having me on.